Matt Easton, you are my mate, my friend. I love your channel. You're one of my favorite YouTubers. Blah, blah, blah. What the heck are you talking about? Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and first off I'd like to say that yes, the beginning was just for a laugh. I always have a lot of respect for Matt Easton, but in this time I do have to say that yes, the apology in question makes no sense from a linguistic point of view, and I would like to talk about the reasons for it. A few days ago I just watched a video from Matt Easton, Scholar Gladiatoria, fantastic channel, subscribe, support him. But he was talking about a linguistic matter, which I appreciate because he brought up a very interesting topic, and in fact he mentions me, so I felt sort of obliged to step in as I am a language teacher. So, Matt is apologizing for the way British people are mispronouncing the word lieutenant. Because in America it's pronounced lieutenant, and that makes more sense because it's closer to the original pronunciation of the original French word, and so basically he's apologizing for that. Now the reason why this makes no sense, you're basically apologizing in behalf of Britain because you are pronouncing a word in a way that is incoherent to the spelling of the word. Okay, so the word is spelled in a way, and your pronunciation lieutenant makes no sense if you look at the actual word. Then you should apologize for the entirety of your language. This is why the very basis of this apology makes no sense. The very principle behind this whole argument is flawed, because this is what happens with the entire language. But I'll get there. So first let's examine the word, the said word. So yes, you said that definitely, you know, lieutenant, it might have something to do with the original roots in Norman French, but definitely it's not how the French pronounce it. But the French don't pronounce it lieutenant either, because the first word, okay, for tenant, okay, the nasal pronunciation, all right, but the first word is lieu, lieutenant, lieu, not lou, but lieu. So even the American version, although it's closer, I'll give you that, is still not the way the French pronounce the word. Also, for the meaning of the word, I think, at least in modern French, lieu means place, because, and so it's like the tenant of a place, and that is because even in Italian we say luogo tenente, the tenant of a place. But anyways, you see, as I said, the problem is not the word, the problem is the apology, because your entire language works like this, and there is no cohesion, it's not coherent with the way you spell things. For example, let me give you some examples. The English alphabet. As an English teacher or a language teacher, I shall now publicly state and officially state that learning the English alphabet is a complete waste of time. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Think about it. No. Okay. Letter O, like in go. No. To, pot, money, come, front. Condition, women, rob. Now, okay, let's get another vowel. The first vowel of the alphabet. A, like in game, play, cat. I mean, you don't say Kate, given that might be the name of your cat, but that's beyond the point. Water, or you don't say waiter, right? Glass, longer. America, so we have already experienced A, O, A, R, and same grapheme, same letter. No, but let's continue. Double O, like in book, like in food, like in floor, door. Blood, flood. Yes, of course there are variations depending on the area, and I'm now basing the pronunciation on Southern English, as Matt is I believe from the London area, but still, as you can see, the vowels, they are just a frigging decoration in English. You like the O? What about the I, like inside, time, Tim, sip? So I and then you're like, well, yeah, but at least double E, it's longer E, and then you have machine. It makes... And don't even get me started with spelling. Now let's talk about spelling. I think the way you spell weird is weird. I would spell it like this, considering the way you pronounce it. The word Q. Like the way you pronounce it, you could just spell it with one single letter. I have to Q. But what's the reason of the rest of the words? Just a decoration, artistic representation? You're Giotto, like the painter. Rhythm. What's the H doing there? Playwright. What happened to GH? Okay, so the G is not pronounced. Gatwick. Now you silly, it's GH that is not pronounced. Yes, like in laugh. Also, the F sound is a GH in English. Yeah, like fire. What about photography? Arctic. Now, point to me how many people actually say Arctic. Now, in some words, you actually did it on purpose, like debt, which originally was spelled the French way, but since Latin sounded a lot better, and I'll give you that, yes, Latin is cool, because the Romans and everything, the empire, yeah, glory to the empire, but yeah, now you spell it debt, like this, but you still don't pronounce the B. If I really want to destroy my students, I just ask them to spell the word handkerchief. Handkerchief. Days of the week: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What about the D? Why don't you say Wednesday? You say Wednesday. The D's there because of Warden, Werden, Odin, the god that it comes from, but the D completely not pronounced, ignored. Okay, I think I made the point, but why? Why do you do this? Why is English so incoherent in the way it's pronounced? Well, there is a reason, and it's a linguistic phenomenon, and it's called GVS. The Great Vowel Shift. Now, the Great Vowel Shift is a linguistic phenomenon which occurred in England between 1350 and the 1600s. So, over this quite lengthy amount of time, the long vowels in English were heavily modified. What that means is that originally these vowels had what is called a continental value, a sort of pronunciation which was closer to continental vowels such as Italian, for example. So this letter here will be pronounced E, this one is O, sometimes O, U, A, E. Now these sounds were modified and completely changed. Thing is though, that when did spelling become standardized in England? Around the 15th century, so in the very midst of these dramatic pronunciation changes. So what this produced is a system, which is the one you use in English now, which pronounces in a new way after the GVS had occurred, but spelling for many words, or the majority of words, remained that was used in Middle English. Not all the time, some words have changed, like room, for example, which was spelled like this. Many other words follow those rules. In fact, if you read Shakespeare, and a lot of times it's supposed to rhyme, but it doesn't, like moon and blood, which originally had a longer O sound, morn and blood. So the pronunciation made perfect sense at the time, but as vowels evolved, spelling remained the same, traditional. Now, this is all impressive, but what's really interesting for us who love history as much as languages, it's interesting to consider this. What would happen if you were to go to England in the 1400s? How would the language sound? Well, I'm about to let you know that, as I'm about to read some words to you, pronouncing them in the way they would be pronounced in the 1400s, so before GVS, 1500s, 1600s and 1900s. So you can see the difference in the evolution of the vowels, of these vowels in the English language. Beat, bait, bait, bite, mate, meat, 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 mat, mat, mate, meat, mart, mart, mat, mate, oot, oat, oat, out, bought, boot, 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 bought, bought, boat, boat. So the first thing I think you will have noticed that the original sounds were in England were a lot more Germanic. In fact, what's interesting to say is that you will have recognized that some of these sounds are present, particularly the ones pertaining to the 1600 and the way GVS had become at the time before becoming what English is now as far as the pronunciation of vowels is concerned, are very similar to certain areas of Great Britain. Let me give you some examples now so that we can pinpoint them just out of interest. For example, you know how in Scotland there are some areas, I think in Glasgow if I'm not wrong, that some people don't say Skype but they say scape, all right, fave, tame. Well, perhaps when you are from England, from London, and you think, well, it's just because the Scots speak that way, it's their accent. But actually, no. The entirety of the country used to speak like that. But in England, the vowel changed into an I. In Scotland, it didn't. So it's as if in these areas, when they speak like this, they are preserving, or they're still speaking how the entire country was speaking. It's as if you are still back 4 centuries ago. Similarly, I remember that I had a friend he was a Geordie, so he was from Newcastle. I always get confused between under Lyme and upon time. Anyways, northeast of England, the Geordies. And if you notice out there, they don't say Facebook, like you would say, I think, in southern England, but they say Facebook, Fizz. So A rather than A. Again, 1600s, everyone would speak like that back then. And again, there are in some accents that don't say house, they say house, or oat instead of out. And these are not just area variations, they are previous versions of the English language which have preserved. If I can just add my own opinion as a linguist, but this is just my opinion, I think, to be honest, that the reason why Northern English and Southern English, talking about England, so I'm not mentioning Scotland in this time, but the way it has evolved, and the reason why it's so different, these are so different, is because you know that English is it's a bit Germanic and a bit Romance language, like it's sort of a hybrid. But in Southern England, I think you are one step closer to a Romance language, whereas in Northern English, in Northern England, you are one step closer to a Germanic language. This is just my opinion, because of the fact that it's a geographical reality. Southern England is closer to France. Okay, well, I hope that you enjoyed this linguistic video. I certainly enjoyed making it. I would like to thank again my friend Matt Easton at Scholar Gladiator for bringing up such an interesting topic, and I hope that you, noble ones, enjoyed this linguistic lesson. I will see you tomorrow for my next daily upload, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye. Roma invicta! What?